have two subjects surrounding being disabled that really bug the heck out of me. And today I want to cover them. I will say that this is a different video, and it's a bit more about my particular engagement with these subjects and a little bit about how I've handled it. So let me start by saying that I was not born with a visible disability. I was born with a deformity of my left hip called hip dysplasia. Yes, just like dogs get. No comments, please. Well, this really did cause a little bit of problem in my youth, but it really didn't fully present itself until about 2012 or so. So in 2015, I eventually got a hip replacement. Well, directly after this, I fell down some stairs. I broke my ankle, tore some ligaments in my ankle, pinched a nerve behind my knee, which caused me numbness down the side of my leg and also in my foot, which hindered me walking. I slipped 3 discs in my back, which are currently still pressing on my spinal nerve. So, yeah, it's a lot. And there's more, but there's a reason why I'm telling you all that. And it is not to get sympathy. So I just want you to know that that is not who I am. I'm telling you this because of my subject matter. I want you to know that I understand this subject firsthand, and I want you to know where I'm coming from. Now, during my recovery, I cannot tell you how many people sent me beautiful cards and emails and IMs. I got them from friends and family and even some strangers wishing me well. A good handful of these beautiful, heartwarming notes that brightened my day also thought I was sick and recovering from an illness. Now, from the explanation above, I think you can see that I was not sick. Even my son would tell people I was sick. However, I think I'm going to give him a little break. He was young teen, very young teen, just turning teen. So let me ask you, have you ever been through this? Well, I did some research about this subject matter, and I believe I may have found the reason why people with disabilities or who are recovering from an injury are linked to being ill. I think this comes from the association between people who have had accidents or end up in a wheelchair or using a walker or whatever. Well, they usually spend some amount of time in the hospital at some point. And we associate the hospital stays with, can we all say it? Yep, being sick. However, we do know that wheelchair, crutches, walker, scooter, even monthly visits to a pain management doctor, they don't equal an illness. I know this firsthand because I've been through all of those things and more. The stereotype really is not fair. Those of us who have or are going through these tough times and changes in our lives. But we also have to look at the other side. It's the way we've been brought up. It's what we've been conditioned to believe. And yes, even you, even me. So how do I handle it? Well, I gotta be honest, most of the time I just let it go. But I will also be honest. On social media, I felt the need to set people straight. Honestly, I think it comes from being big bone. I didn't want people to think I was sick because of my size. Oh, she's only sick because this only happened because of her size. I know it's silly, and I'm really exposing my inner thoughts to you all here. But that's how it was back then. But what I would do is I would very gently correct people with a post like, "Thank you all so much for your wonderful comments. Thank God I have been very healthy through this ordeal, which is making my injury recovery go so well. Your comments are giving me smiles through this extremely tough time. Thank you so much. You see, this allowed me to straighten out the fact that I was not sick, while making sure people who, out of the wonderful kindness of their heart, were speaking really kind of incorrectly. And I didn't feel like I was berating them or scolding them. And I didn't want to make them feel bad. After all, they were doing this to brighten my day. And it did brighten my day. It made me feel so happy. All right, so that leads me to my second subject that bothers me, is what people believe is disabled and handicapped. So let's take a look at the definition of disabled. A disability is the result of a medically defined condition that limits a person's senses, movement, activities, right? So a handicap is a barrier, a circumstance, whatever, that makes a progress difficult, such as like climbing a flight of stairs. So let me go back to my condition for just a moment. From my explanation that I explained above, I was 100% handicapped. I was unable to walk properly without some form of aid. I couldn't descend or climb stairs, nor could I get up from a chair without the help of a person or a sturdy table. I went from using a wheelchair to a scooter to crutches to a walker to a cane, and I did this for a long time. I was, by all definitions, and of course by my doctor's definitions, considered handicapped. Okay, so at the end of 2017, I decided to do some procedures on my back that ended up helping me walk better. It actually helped me to handle some stairs better. It took some of that pressure off my back to allow me to handle these things better. It was, by all sense, a blessing. But I still had a barrier or a circumstance that made progress difficult. In 2019, I took up hiking on trails, and I did this to help with leg strength and to help my very slow decline in stamina from sitting so much. It was very slow going, let me tell you. Very slow going. I'm sorry, I'm actually thinking back in my head and I'm like, wow, yeah. Well, anyways, it eventually helped me to walk better, and it eliminated, or well, not eliminated, it mostly eliminated the use of a mobility scooter. It's also helped me to be able to climb stairs a little bit better and descend down a flight of stairs a lot better. But does this mean that I'm not disabled anymore? No, absolutely not. You see, I have more days than not of extreme back pain, extreme leg weakness, and overall body stiffness, and I struggle. Now, I will say, on days that I feel fantastic, I do not use my handicap placard at all. I figure if I feel this good, well, why can't I let someone who doesn't feel good use this spot? But on the days that I feel like I got hit by a bus, I use it. These are the days I get looks, comments, notes on my car. Yes, you heard that right. Notes on my car. Now, because I very rarely use mobility aids anymore, I get the comments of, how could you use someone else's placard like that? How could you be parking in the handicapped parking spot? You're not handicapped. So I say nothing. But one of these days I'm going to throw down my pants and show my scars. No, probably never. Well, there is a misunderstanding from the non-disabled, non-handicapped people out there that if you're not in a wheelchair or using some major mobility device, that you're not handicapped or disabled. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not really true. I need to use the handicap spot because of my back. It's in pain all the time. And sometimes it's in pain more than I can even begin to tell you. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's up there at 9. My left leg, it's not strong enough to handle the push-off by itself that most people can do when they get out of the car. Picture that in your mind for a second. How do you get out of the car? One leg at a time, right? Well, I need 2 legs on most days, actually the majority of the days, to get out of my car. Therefore, I need to open my door all the way and need the extra room that the handicap spot provides for me. On days when my back is really bad, after grocery shopping for my family, standing in line, that is, if I don't use a scooter, the thought of walking out 15 more cars is agonizing. And there have been times where I've gotten out to the car, sat there for 10 or 15 minutes crying because I'm in so much pain. Now you may say, well, Kristen, you hike. Yeah, you're right, I do. Even though I hike a few miles each week, it's different than, let's say, going to Disneyland, going to the mall, or swap meet. First off, I'm not on concrete. And those of you who have back injuries know exactly what I'm talking about. 1 hour of walking on concrete is equal to about 2, maybe even 3 hours of walking on those trails. We're talking dirt trails here. These 3 or 4 things that I just told you about, these are just examples of why I'm considered handicapped or disabled and use the handicap placard. I just thought of something. I have to tell you about one experience that actually was really funny. All right, so my husband is driving the car, and yeah, let me just start right there. My husband was driving the car. He pulled into a handicap spot, and as he got out of the car and walked around the car, a lady actually yelled at him that he was not handicapped and that he had absolutely no right to park there. Well, he said nothing. He proceeded to get the wheelchair out of the back of the car, help me into the wheelchair, and roll past her. She ate crow. Yep, she ate crow. Now, do you think she apologized? Nope, not at all. You see, when people make these types of comments, or I see people parking in the lines of the handicap spots, or even when they park in the handicap spot and they don't have a handicap placard, it upsets me. Actually, I just saw that the other day. A person parked in the lines of the handicap spot with no placard, just to unload some large boxes. They were there for 20 minutes. That meant that that handicap spot was useless for anybody who needed to open that door wide. Now, could that person have been handicapped? Of course, absolutely. But 2 things. There are a reason for the lines. It gives a disabled person more room to either open their door, to get their legs out, to get a wheelchair out, whatever. And let's not forget that the doctors and the DMVs hand out the red and blue placards and license plates for a reason. It's the law. You are only to use those spots if you have one of these. If you forgot yours, sorry, it's still the law. Now, this whole experience saddens me. The disregard for those of us who need these spots is downright disrespectful. I know here where I live, we can report the violation to the store, to the police department, but I've never done that. Honestly, I've never come up with a decent way to respond to the people who throw comments at me or anything along those lines. I don't know. If you've dealt with this and have come up with a way to handle the ignorance and the misunderstanding that people put towards us, let me know in the comments. Now, some of you who are watching this might go, well, Kristen, you're not handicapped. You walk without a device. Yeah? Okay. I would like to show you my scars. I would like to have you be in my body for one day. I'd like for you to try to go grocery shopping one time. I would like for you to stand and cook a meal for your family one time. I would like it if you try to walk without wobbling, without pain one time. Handicap comes, and disability comes in many more ways than one. So, meanwhile, I'm just going to continue to walk past the belligerent person, the stares, the notes, etc., whatever, and ignore them, knowing that they're just misinformed. Look, I know this video was a little bit more rant than helpful information. I'm sorry, like most of my videos, but I also know that there's some of you out there who have gone through this, and I want you to know that you're not alone. I understand how you feel. And there might be those of you who happen across this video and watch it all the way to the end who may not be disabled or handicapped. And I'm hoping that maybe you learn something from someone who is, and that handicap looks different to different people. Maybe you might pass it along to somebody who feels that handicapped and disability is only for wheelchair. I don't know. I'm Kristen Nitz with Big Bone and Broken, and I know this was a very different video, but if you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the subscribe button and the notification button. Until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, and stay wise.